Let's concentrate on table one as we normally do. Ronnie O'Sullivan against a double thorn in his side in the past, Elliot Slessor. The reason I'm saying that, Slessor beat him 4-1 in the last 32 of the 2017 Northern Ireland Open, 6-2 in the last 64 of the 2018 China Open. O'Sullivan 4-0 down, made a 1-4-7, as you do. But to give you the full story of their head-to-heads, in their most recent meeting, O'Sullivan prevailed 4-1, last 64 of the 2020 Northern Ireland Open, and played nicely. Breaks of 97, 78, 76 and 57. Before the match gets heavily involved, Sean, must ask you, last week, of course, it was the Players' Championship. Your good friend Mark Allen lifted the trophy, but you were defending champion and unable to be there because you didn't qualify.
Yeah, I was absolutely gutted, Phil. Thanks for bringing that up so early in the day. No, I was devastated not to make it, I've got to be honest. It actually happened to me in the very first Players' Championship way back when. I won it in Dublin and didn't get to defend it the next year. It's one of those idiosyncrasies of the Players' Series with the reducing field events. Normally the defending champion would come back as #1 seed and be automatically there, but not the case in those events. And that's the beauty of those tournaments. Everyone has the same chance at the start of the season to get in them, and you know, I haven't done well enough this year to deserve my place in them. So I go to the World Open. As we see the fluke there, the raise of the hand from Elliot, I go to the World Open in a couple of weeks. I think I need to win it or get to the final.
I will say this, you played very nicely at the Tour Championship. But at the Players' Championship, for me, that's the best you've ever played. You were entirely dominant last year. It was, in terms of pure standard, I think even better snooker from you than when you won the World Championship.
Oh, yeah, without question. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, definitely. You know, I had the week of my life there. Talking of weeks of my life, that was the shot of his day so far. He didn't mean to flick the pink into play over the middle pocket, but he'll take it. And not sure if it'll spot on its own spot here. Looks like it's pretty congested. Not sure if it'll go on the black spot either. Paul Collier coming around to have a look. Nice to see Paul back out with the gloves on, actually. We don't get to see him very often these days. He's progressed into more of a tournament director's role with the tour. Nice to see him with the gloves on.
Could not agree more. He's one of the best in the business, as indeed is Jan Verhaas, who refereed the final of the Players' Championship on Sunday. It was great to see him out there. And when you've got a good referee, it really does help, because a safe pair of hands mean it's almost sure there's going to be no controversy.
90.
No, he's just coming around to see the reds by the pink. Obviously the 1-3 from the pink above it pots into both corners. The 1-2 from the pink is the one he'd love to get on if it pots, which it may or may not do. That would lead him to be able to move the red next to the pink away, but I'm sure he would have played for that by now if it was available. Trying to get on the red next to the black here. He may have the angle in pot in this red to nudge the one next to the pink out of the way. He just tapped his table there as he walks past. That's a little giveaway to say he's not quite where he wanted to be. Yeah, couldn't Move the red by the pink, so black this time. And of course, remember the pink spot was occupied, so the pink goes on the black spot. When the black's potted, it'll go in behind that pink. Should still be pottable though. This could turn into a nice chance pretty quickly here for Elliot.
He had a very nice chance in the semi-final of Group 6 last night. Deciding frame against Pang Junzhu. He was in first, stretching over. Overcut a pink to the top left-hand pocket, and Pang made 70 to advance. Very disappointed, Slessor. In fact, he was so disappointed that when Pan was on
32.
70 and with a chance for a century, he conceded.
I
can tell you that Jordan Brown did take the first frame against Joe O'Connor on table 2.
Elliot Slessor, 33.
A poor miss from Elliot there. He'll be very disappointed with that mistake. Perhaps was concentrating on the cannon. Forgot to pot the black. One of the oldest cliches in the book. Kiss on the green. Gives O'Sullivan a sighter at the red 2 from the pink here. Try and cut it into this left corner, black waiting. Yeah, may not have gone for it. Missed it by so far. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but that kiss on the brown left Elliot a similar shot. As long as he gets close to the pot here, the cue ball should avoid the pink. But a nil side spin on it to avoid the 2 reds in open play as well. Goodness, well, he's not played it, so I can only assume that the natural angle would have collided with the pink.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the environment for a possible re-rack is there when the black is over the pocket like that, because the reds tend to congregate around it. I know you're at the Welsh Open, Sean. What about that match that struggled to start? Martin O'Donnell, Anthony Hamilton, the first frame, they re-racked twice. And it was 0-0 without a ball officially potted, 1 hour, 20 minutes after they'd broken off.
That was one for the purists, wasn't it? A lovely shot from O'Sullivan there. Really, really nicely played. Appreciated by Elliot as he comes to the table. That was nicely done.
Yes, in snooker there's lots of euphemisms. One for the purists is definitely a euphemism.
Yeah, wasn't it great though to see Martin O'Donnell progress to his first final? Player that was off the tour not that long ago. And who knows how many other players that type of run might encourage in their own journey.
Yes, and he did so brilliantly, beating, funnily enough, Elliot Slessor in the semi-final with a superbly constructed and very composed century in the decider.
Well, as you predicted, Phil, all the reds are starting to move that way, aren't they, towards that side of the table? Problem with this is it's so hard to trap your opponent when the balls go in this type of position. Yes, he can get the cue ball behind blue and green, maybe, but to what end?
And the other interesting dynamic here is that Slessor's got no incentive whatsoever to think about a re-rack being 33 ahead.
sure he'll play this red to the left-hand side of the table. The reds up and to the right of the pink are the natural reds, but you're always wary of knocking the black in, so choosing this red over here, no risk with this one. Played it nicely. And Ronnie, when he plays this similar figure of 8 shot in behind blue and green, this is like a break off, needs to be careful one of the reds doesn't knock the black in. Just caught that a little bit on the thin side.
We had a re-rack incident in the Ranking Championship League back in the summer here. Mahai Long against Mink Nucharat. It was obvious it was going to be a re-rack. For what seemed like an age before eventually the referee stepped in. This much less obvious. It could be resolved.
Yeah, good line there from Ronnie. And Elliot squeezed through to the red to the left of the pink. No, he can't. So this is my point, though. Yeah, you might snooker your opponent, but when the balls end up near the cushions, such as this, it's always straightforward to just come off a cushion and rest up to a red. There's absolutely no risk here. It's very, very hard to rectify this situation.
The overwhelming majority of re-racks these days occur through mutual consent between the two players. This will not be one of them. If the referee determines that it's a stalemate situation, he will give both players a certain number of shots.
And tell me, Phil, where do you think the onus lies here? Whose responsibility here in terms of the players? Where does the responsibility lie to move the game on? Is it in Ronnie's hands as the one who's trailing to come and chase the game? Or is it Elliot's? Is it under Elliot's control to push on and try and win the frame?
I think it's the latter.
Where does the responsibility lie?
I think it's the latter because he's got the advantage. Of course, we had a very famous incident at the Crucible years ago between the late Willie Thorne and Andy Hicks when Thorne was over 50 points ahead and the referee gave them a certain number of shots.
Well, that obviously went completely wrong. Both players have made a few safety errors here on the thin side. That was another one. Elliot didn't hit enough of that red. That tells me that when they're playing with side spin, the cue ball isn't taking the path that they're intending it to. That's what we call heavy, when the conditions are heavy. Of course, it is very cold at the moment here in Leicester. It's all of the right conditions to make the tables play that way. But the players will adapt to that as the day goes on. Yeah, I've always found that a funny one in terms of re-racks, because Elliot here, he's got the 33 points. He's done that. In my opinion, it's the job of the chasing player to come get him. But that doesn't seem to be the overriding opinion. Everyone else seems to think it's the other way, which I'm happy to debate. But it's a funny one.
Well, Clive Everton, for many years, the great commentator, had the idea that in a re-rack situation, you take the points earned into the restart. That seems to make sense to me.
Faintest of rubs on the yellow there. Just put Elliot in a bit of trouble here, but he's trying to get on the red. Nearest the pink. Looks a bit wide. I just wonder whether... I was going to say Ronnie might have a go at the red here, just to try and move play on a little bit, but he's not doing. And it's interesting, isn't it? This type of frame gives us the time to sort of look at the evolution of a player like Ronnie O'Sullivan, who, you know, not that long ago, just would have had no interest in this type of frame. Just wouldn't have carried on into, you know, would have just hit a red to the black probably on purpose to move the frame on, you know. And of course, the very famous tie-up with Ray Reardon changed him and reshaped his game. He's really evolved as a player.
I think the same thing, the penny dropped with Judd Trump as well. The more good safeties you play, the better you have it in terms of giving yourself break-building chances. Yes, everyone loves to pot balls and score heavy. What's the best way to do it? Play good safety in the first place.
Oh, the black nearly went in there. We can't see the players' faces, but I'm sure there's a wry smile on one of their faces there. That black teetered on the edge of the pocket. And as you can see now, the faintest collision between any of those reds and the red and black over the pocket would see the black go in. So Elliot here has to be very, very careful. But this is the problem with what you were saying there, Phil, is when you fight it out and have the full safety battle, you get two players who are willing to stand there all day and do this. This is what happens. The balls go really messy. See Ronnie there trying to progress play on, tried to open up. He just ran out of patience there. And he has left this red to the middle pocket. And so it's Elliot Slessor that has won that little war.
Six.
Long way from the line here, of course, because he will need some of those reds that are on the cushions and over by the black. So not putting the bunting out just yet. Frame one. Shake of the head there from Elliot. That cue ball gone
13.
Nearly 2 feet further than he intended it to. He played to be near the black spot. Not sure how it's ended up there. And a nice pot on the red means that
14.
He has the next shot. 43 points the lead now. It'd be worthwhile putting one of the colours on a cushion here. No real value to pot in this pink. Yeah. Shot.
That's a 40. Oh.
Well, O'Sullivan's intentions are very clear there. Let's get on with this. And you know, he's still in the frame. 67 points on the table. Slessor's lead only 51.
Yeah, that was a strange passage of play. That I don't think I've ever seen anyone play such an obviously deliberate foul there. I'm not sure about that one. Oh, great shot. That's a great shot though. The blue knocking the black over the pocket. Has gone over and knocked the black over the pocket. I'm not sure if Ronnie can go cushion first here and still pot the black. That would give the angle to get over by the reds. Yeah, nicely played. As I say, this is all from that shot a moment ago where it just on purpose knocked the red and black in the pocket. As I say, I don't think I've ever seen one that blatant. Is that within the rules, Phil?
Well, Paul Collier did not do anything, so I would say yes, maybe it's his prerogative. Tell you what, if he clears up here, that could give him the freedom of the city. When he came to the table, nothing at all
16.
was in his favour. Now it's looking a little brighter.
Yeah, fabulous
17.
shot. Just sometimes get the sense with Ronnie that, I wouldn't say boredom, I think he just enjoys the challenge of these situations. I know certain professionals, myself included, sometimes finish practice sessions by literally getting the reds and balls in the hand and throwing them around the table, and wherever they finish, trying to clear up as a bit of a random challenge. And it's almost as if these types of situations really get his juices flowing. You know, can I do it from here? And as you say, freedom of the city if he clears up from here.
23.
He's produced so many extraordinary clearances down the years, it's impossible to list them all, but
30.
I recall one in the Northern Ireland Open, or Northern Ireland Trophy final as it was then, against Dave Harold, first session. It was scary.
31.
Yeah, slight grimace there. He played to go cushion first and knock the pink into play whilst having blue ball position. He's just come right across that, played that with loads of left to try and fizz the cue ball in behind the yellow.
Sullivan 31.
Missed it by so far, the cue balls hit the brown. So Elliot breathes again here, 20 points to the good. Yellow and green for the frame. Nicely played. You could see the determination etched on the face of Elliot Slessor there. Just this green now for a very hard fought first frame. Can't quite reach it, needs his little extension, which most players carry. I say most, not all. Just got to be careful with this because it does change the dynamics of the cue, makes it longer, heavier. You get more spin, get more throw. Easily miss this thick. Straight in the heart of the pocket.
5.
25 ahead then with 22 remaining. Will Ronnie carry on for snookers? I fancy not.
It's Slessor 5.
Well, fair play. He is coming back to the table. I didn't think he would. With the play having lasted so long already in this first frame, I thought he might have wanted to get on with it. Trying to move that black into a more favourable snookering position, but he's offered up this chance for Elliot to put this frame to bed.
Which he does.
4. Elliot Slessor 9 on the frame.
That, by Ronnie O'Sullivan standards, was a very lengthy frame. For Elliot Slessor, it was a very satisfying frame. He draws first blood.